There he is.
Has the jury reached a unanimous verdict?
Yes, Your Honor.
If you please could hand the verdict form to the bailiff.
He looks like he's trying not to poop.
Yeah, it looks like he looked over and locked eyes with one or two of the
Squeeze
jurors.
the cheeks together, sweetie.
The judge has it in his little hands.
The verdict form is in its proper order. Madam Clerk, please publish the verdict.
I like a properly ordered juror form. Verdict form.
Court of the Second Judicial Circuit in and for Leon County, Florida, the state of Florida versus Charles Adelson, case number 2016 CF 3036B. Verdict. Count 1. We, the jury, find as follows as to count 1 of the indictment, first-degree murder. The defendant is guilty of first-degree murder. Count 2. We, the jury, find as follows as to count 2 of the indictment, conspiracy to commit first-degree murder. The defendant is guilty of conspiracy to commit first-degree murder. Count 3.
And now he has diarrhea.
We, the jury, find as follows as to count 3 of the indictment, solicitation to commit first-degree murder. The defendant is guilty of solicitation to commit first-degree murder. So say we all this 6th day of November, 2023.
You know, Charlie should spell his name with an I at the end too, like Wendi.
That sounds like a female way to spell your name.
Well, hey, I know. He's going to prison now and might want to change things up.
You need to be a good actress you can be a good actress when you want to. I've seen you in action. You need to put on the performance of your life. Jibbers hasn't beaten the Adelson family yet.
Hey,
Who's
Sam.
Jibbers?
Jibbers, she's referring to Danny.
And was Jibbers a name he went by or just something you called him behind his back?
Jibbers was a silly nickname that I gave him during the divorce proceedings when he was
Sounds like a hamster or something.
being
Jibbers.
pretty scary and threatening, and it kind of made me feel less scared of him.
Okay, so not something you called him to his face.
No.
Didn't you say, it's like my parents have more reason to dislike Danny than almost anyone else? Is that what you said?
That is what I said.
And that's because he hurt you, right?
And I was saying that in the context of talking to law enforcement for hours and hours and trying to help them figure out who might be responsible.
Right, and who did
We
you
certainly hope so, Bama.
tell them might be responsible?
Well, I told them many, many people, but are you asking about this particular moment right here?
You
That's
told
why I
them
gave
your
it to you.
family might be responsible.
Or
didn't
potentially
you?
someone to do with a former student or his current girlfriend. I mentioned lots of people that I thought could be responsible.
Okay, and of
Including
the
your
lots of
brother.
people that could have been responsible, your family was one.
Yep.
Because they might have done this thinking it would help you. I mean, that's what happened, right?
I'm sorry, I don't understand the question.
Your ex-husband killed to try to help you, didn't they?
No, that's completely untrue.
Why was he so adamant and so confident that this was the real reason you wanted to be down there?
I think there's a lot of things in these pleadings that are not true, so just because it says something doesn't make it true.
Sure, but did he know that your mom was just grinding on this issue of trying to get you down there?
He would have had no idea.
He wouldn't have been, that wouldn't have been known to him?
I don't think so.
But he was accusing you in these pleadings of all kind of stuff, right? I mean, I'm not saying it's true, but hiding financial assets, failing to disclose things, kidnapping his kids in the middle of, his business trip, all those sorts of things, right?
Yes, he said lots of things.
All right, and you said a lot of things too. There's filings going both ways that are pretty venomous. Would you agree with that?
I would not agree with that.
Yours were pleasant.
I'm not saying divorce filings are pleasant, but mine were not venomous.
Okay. Did your mom call Dan any disparaging names around this time frame?
Well, I just read them in the emails.
Other than Jibbers.
But I don't remember them independently.
Okay. Did she call him an asshole?
Yes.
A narcissist?
Yes.
A bully?
Yes.
Religious zealot?
Yes.
Bastard?
That I don't remember.
Page 5.
She doesn't recall specifically bastard, but
Why
Is
is
it
he
page 5
laughing?
from the first email?
Yes, if you'll just go through by the physical pages.
Right, yeah, he was a little bit, it looks like he's remembering that fondly. The time when
Oh,
Mom...
the time when Mom called him a bastard.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh.
Those were good days.
I see, yes.
Sorry, what was your answer?
Yes.
Fucker?
Yes.
There's Renee.
Hey.
But in all the filings made on your behalf by the different lawyers that you had, and all of the emails that your mom sent, he was never described as abusive.
Yeah, she does. And she does, when Georgia is asking the question, sometimes Wendi will do this little head tilt to the side, like an earnestly listening dog, you know?
Mhm,
He
yeah.
was described as emotionally abusive, yes.
Can you show me where he was described as emotionally abusive in any of those items?
Well, not by my mom, but in the pleadings.
Okay, show me that.
It's going to take me a while to find it.
Okay, we
well,
have time.
It's
want me to
not in there, but you can get back to me
Well,
with it.
it is in there.
It's like, well, it's not in there, but get back to me on
All right,
that.
what about the idea that you could try to threaten Dan to convert the kids to Christianity so that they can fit into the Bible Belt here in Tallahassee? Is that something your mom suggested in these emails?
My mom did suggest that.
Okay, and
That is so shitty.
specifically page 7 of the exhibit. Let Gibbers know that your children will be baptized in the Catholic Church. Have a picture made of them in front of the church, all that kind of thing. That's what your mom suggested at one time.
She did, yes.
Okay, and did you do any of those things?
No, I don't even think I responded to it.
Do you know whether the defendant, your brother Charlie, was supportive of the plan to convert them or pose as converting them to
I
Christianity?
have no idea. I don't think he was particularly involved in this
We agree, Renee.
round of my mom's
On
emails.
page 11 of the exhibit, there's an indication from your mom that Charlie at least has discussed this with her and maybe.
Yeah, she has another older brother, but I don't recall hearing his name mentioned at all in the family. It's like he's the brother that Adelsons forgot. I don't know.
I mean, I know she's one of 3, isn't she?
Yes. Yep.
So, but
Yeah.
they've only focused on, I guess, Dirty Charlie, not
Yeah. The other one must be an actual human being,
Mhm.
compassionate
the
human
black
being.
sheep of
Yeah,
the family.
right. Like Marilyn from the Munsters.
He is somewhat supportive. Charlie brought up a good point when he said that Americans were dropped behind enemy lines during World War II wearing Nazi uniforms to get what they wanted. They had a job to get done, and they did what they needed to do to accomplish it. You have a job to get done in a very short time frame to accomplish it. If you dressed your kids up in Hitler youth uniforms and brought them down here, I could care less if it was an act of defiance that would show Gibbers that he's, all caps and bold, not in control. So it just seems like your mom was
Oh.
pretty extreme about this situation.
She's fun. Yeah.
That's pretty extreme.
Oh, that's going to be an interesting Thanksgiving dinner at their house.
It's all fun and games until you bring Hitler into it.
Shut the.
Getting you relocated. Can
I
you
think
agree
she
with
was-
that?
Yeah.
Was your brother Charlie protective of you?
I mean, when I was a little kid.
What
yeah.
about as an adult?
As an adult? I mean, not particularly.
You hired a hitman
Is it
for
fair
me.
to say that during the year or so leading up to the murder of Dan Markel that your brother did not like your ex?
I mean, I don't think he probably didn't like him, but I also think he didn't spend a lot of time thinking about him.
Did he ever like him?
We have something on the brother here. The older brother is Rob. He has nothing to do with the family. They haven't spoke or seen each other in years. God bless Rob. He's probably better off for it.
Mm, yeah.
It'd be interesting to know what he thinks.
Yeah, I mean, I think they got along fine.
Did your brother ever mention hiring a hitman to kill Dan Markel?
No.
I'm going to turn your attention to your law enforcement interview, and I'm referring to page 25, lines 13 through 15. Quote, "It was always his joke. He said, I looked into hiring a hitman and it was cheaper to get you this TV." Is that what he said?
That was a joke that he made, yes.
And hiring the hitman, that was to kill Dan Markel, right? That was the joke,
That was the joke that he made in poor taste, yes.
not to kill someone else.
No. Well, he never used his name.
Okay. Well, he's hiring you the TV because it's cheaper as a divorce present than a hitman. Who else would he be hitting with the hitman?
Yeah,
I never really
right.
thought about it because it was not a thing that he meant. He just made a bad joke.
Well, you repeated the joke, didn't you?
He repeated the joke.
Didn't you also repeat the joke?
To other people?
Yes, like Jeff LaCasse.
I never said that to Jeff LaCasse.
You didn't tell Jeff LaCasse that your brother got you that TV as a divorce present because it was cheaper than hiring a hitman.
I may have repeated that joke in the context of the
Oh,
TV.
so now
Yes.
suddenly you did say.
Right. She just said,
Okay.
I never repeated
No,
that joke,
I
right?
never did that. That's ridiculous.
When
Yeah.
all of us on this stream have probably heard her repeat that joke. That's odd.
There's a photograph, I'm sure you recall, of you on the beach with Catherine.
I like to call Catherine Magbanua K-Mags.
It is. It does roll off
Do
the
you recall
tongue
when
easier.
that photo was taken?
I do. It was Father's
are.
Day 2014, so 9 years ago.
June 15th of 2014,
That sounds right.
so about a month before the murder.
That sounds right.
Where was this photo taken?
It was in Miami. I went down to visit my dad for Father's Day.
Yep. TV sure is code for murder, allegedly. But Wendi still denies that.
When did you learn that Catherine Magbanua was blackmailing your brother for the murder of your ex-husband?
Today.
So he never told you?
No,
You testified in Catherine Magbanua's murder trial last year, didn't you?
I did, yes.
And she was convicted
She was convicted, yes.
of murder,
Yes, of murder.
of murdering Dan Markel,
Of murdering my
The
children's
crime?
father, yes.
a crime for which she apparently is innocent because she was just a conduit for Sigfredo Garcia. Did you learn that today along with all of us?
Well, I learned that someone made that argument. I don't know whether it's true or not true.
Okay, you have no knowledge of it.
I have no knowledge.
In all the years this has been pending,
All of the years this has been pending.
your brother has known who killed your child's father, and you didn't know.
I did not know.
It's
I
like
love
for
her.
9 years, her brain's been sucked up by a vacuum, and they sucked
Right.
all the information right out.
Yeah, I think she later says that she's not talked to her mom about the murder.
Yeah,
for all
in a decade, right?
because my attorney said not to. Yeah, I think she does. I clipped that later,
Yeah.
so we'll see that soon.
How did the killers in this case know that Dan Markel was planning to leave town the day after the killing?
I have no idea.
You knew he was planning to leave town the next day, didn't you?
I did, yes.
Did you convey that information to anyone?
Absolutely not.
To your knowledge, did your brother have that information?
I don't know why he would have known that.
So if the killers were told it has to be done today because he's leaving town tomorrow, we don't know how they knew that.
I have no idea how they knew that.
Lucky guess.
But it would have to come from someone familiar with Dan Markel's schedule, wouldn't it?
Because according to Charlie, they came up with this plan all
All
by
on
their
their
lonesomes.
own,
Yep.
yeah. These
Just to
Random
blackmail.
guys. Yep.
Just to blackmail them out of a few $1,000s.
Right. Yeah.
They would have to find out somehow. I don't know how.
Did your dad get any big gifts for his 70th?
I don't remember.
Did you, so there was no big lead up and discussion about some big gift that you were involved in, at least?
I don't remember. I don't remember if I gave him a present. I hope I did.
Do you remember what anybody gave him for that birthday?
I really don't.
Was the murder of Dan Markel your dad's big gift?
I mean, that's, of course not. That's a horrible thing to say.
What about what about
Do you know
The
why
grand-
you're here? Yeah.
I know. It looks like she considered it for a
Yeah,
little bit
like-
there. She's like, well, no,
Well,
no.
we all chipped in.
grandchildren, getting full unfettered access to the grandchildren?
My
Could that
parents
have been
had
the
full
big gift?
unfettered access to their grandchildren always.
I bet she is now. I'm not sure she was at this time, but yeah.
Not when they lived in Tallahassee.
Well, whenever
Worried
they
that
could come
she's
up
gonna
and
be
see
dead.
them, they did.
They were 50% of the time with Dan Markell, right?
Sure, but whenever they were with me, they had full unfettered access.
The repairman, you're familiar with his statement that you seemed really upset that day. What were you upset about?
I have no idea.
No clue.
Were you upset that day?
I don't remember being. Oh, yes, I was upset that day.
Mm.
I was upset. I remember Danny wanted to take the kids swimming, and I wanted to pick them up earlier in the day.
Okay,
And
so nothing to do with the TV.
I don't think so. I probably wasn't that upset about the TV.
So you never turned on Trescott Drive that day?
I went to turn on Trescott Drive, but I saw that it had been blocked off by some tape, and so I just kept driving on Centerville.
Okay, and when you had to turn around at the tape, right, to go back out?
I think I tried to turn right, and it couldn't turn, so I would have made like the kind of turn, like a K turn, and kept going.
Was there
I
a
don't know
road?
what she's doing with her hands. That's not even a K.
She's demonstrating a K turn. We call them 3-point turns out here.
Oh, that's what it's called, a K turn there.
I guess so. That's the
Oh,
only thing I can
call
think
him
of.
flipping a bitch. Is that
Yeah, that too. But you do it in a K formation apparently.
Block there with,
There was tape.
yeah, and an officer was there
I
with
didn't see an
for the-
officer, but I did see a car.
a law enforcement marked vehicle? Okay, did you have any contact with the officer?
No.
Okay. Did you do anything after that to try to find out what was going on down that roadway?
No, I just
No.
assumed it was weather, or maybe a tree fell.
Had there been bad weather that day?
No, but it was summertime, and there's electrical storms and trees fall, so that would have been pretty normal for summertime.
Where were
But-
your kids supposed to be at the time that you encountered that roadblock?
They would have been at school.
And that's at the creative preschool?
That's right.
Who took them to preschool that day?
Danny,
And who was supposed to pick them up from preschool that day?
me.
All right, so did you know for sure that they had made it to preschool that day at the time you encountered the roadblock?
I just assumed, I mean, if they hadn't made it to preschool, Danny would have let me know, but
Did you attempt to call Dan Markell when you encountered the roadblock?
no, I didn't think anything of it. I didn't think it was related to the house.
So did he?
Even though, like when she showed up for her police interview, she had a voicemail from a concerned friend that called her and said, I'll feel really stupid if I'm overreacting, but there's some police vehicles on your street this morning. I hope nothing's wrong. And, so I would certainly check on my kids. But
not if they're not at home necessarily.
yeah,
No,
true.
that doesn't raise an eyebrow for me.
You say in that
It's because you're a psychopath.
Shut up.
voicemail that he left you what his plans were in regards to the gym that day?
He did.
What exactly did he say about the gym?
About the gym, he said, I'm going to be at the gym probably between 9:15 and 10:30, but I'm
Yes, she does do. Yeah, Jodi Arias does the head tilt too,
Mhm,
doesn't she?
She does. Yeah, very
Yep.
similar.
Keen observation there, Renee.
happy to chat or meet with you. Maybe we can go for a walk at school or something like that. Let me know.
Okay. So that particular voicemail doesn't sound very emotionally abusive. Would you agree with that?
No, by this point in time, we were parenting really well and we were doing just fine.
Getting along great.
I love her.
Move to strike.
I'll strike the comment, Your Honor.
Yeah, she got her little jab in
I
there,
know,
though.
but I love it. It doesn't matter if you strike it. We all heard it.
Yep.
You know?
I love her.
Do you agree or disagree that there have been some financial benefits to you and your boys as a result of Dan's death?
I disagree.
When did you decide to change the names of your children from Markell to Adelson?
So after Danny's murder, there was a lot of news. It just hit the media and there were news stories everywhere. And Nancy Grace on CNN put pictures of my boys with their faces unblurred, just pictures of them. And I was terrified. And so when they started school, I started school with my last name, thinking that would keep them safe, that they
Wasn't-
wouldn't be associated with the murder.
Wasn't
Their
the Adels-
face was up there, though, not their name. Who cares?
Yeah.
Changing their name doesn't make sense if their faces were unblurred and already on the news.
Yeah, it's not like they're walking around with an ID. and,
Yeah, I know.
the name in the press just
It
as
was
much
not in the
as
press.
Raquel?
Not yet.
When was the last time you talked to your mom? Did you talk to her today, yesterday?
I talked to her yesterday.
It's a learn along with Wendi time again.
In her emails, and we referenced one of them while you've been here on the stand, she talks about you giving performances and playing roles. Did you discuss anything about what you would do here today in court with your mother?
No.
Were you involved in any way in the plot to kill your ex-husband?
Absolutely not.
I like to think that Georgia's doing a crossword puzzle up there right now while she's.
Did you know it was going to happen, but maybe not know the details?
I knew nothing.
Is that why you went to the crime scene on the day of the homicide?
I did not go to the crime scene on the day of the homicide.
Do you know who all was involved in the murder?
Well, I learned today, but at the time, no.
Okay. Have you ever privately confronted your brother about his role or possible role in the murder?
My attorney has advised me not to have conversations with anyone in my family about the case.
You suspected your brother could have been a part of this, right?
Yeah, that's a good point, Jean. I'd like to be a fly on the wall when Donna, Wendi, and the father heard about the guilty verdict. I'm sure they all needed to change their depends after that. Yep.
Yeah.
Yikes.
I suspected lots of people could have been a part of it.
But he was one of the people, right?
While I was talking with law enforcement for 6 hours, terrified out of my mind, I offered them every possible idea I could come up with.
And he was a
Right.
possible
And
idea.
One of the possible ideas was that your brother could have murdered your child's father.
I didn't really
right?
believe that was possible.
Was part of the plot for you to be able to have plausible deniability about this?
Absolutely not.
Oh, good.
Is it better for both you and your brother if you don't know the details of this?
A well-timed
I don't even
comment.
understand the question that you're asking me.
Why don't you
When did
understand
you
that?
first
I
become-
understand it. I'm not a genius. I didn't go to law school. I know what the question was.
Yeah.
What
I'm aware
the?
that you might be a suspect in this case.
I mean, as the ex-wife, I assumed I was a suspect from the beginning.
I mean, the first thing you said was Charlie, right?
I don't think so.
Page 25 of your interview, line 5 through 15. Do you have any reason to dispute? Page 25, not 5 hours into it. You say Charlie might have done it, right?
Can I see, please?
You may.
Thank you for fast forwarding that.
What I
Yeah.
see here is that he would never do it. Right under the highlighted part, I say, no, he would never.
We're about to get the actual quote here. Yeah, I don't know, Renee. And what'll be interesting to see if in Wendy's trial, if he'll testify.
Page 25, line 5 through 15. I mean, my brother, the one, his name is Charlie, the one I'm really close to. He makes a lot of jokes in that taste, and it was a joke he made. He bought the TV for me this morning that got broken, and then I was talking to him about whether it made sense to pay or fix it.
He looks pissed that she mentioned him. I mean, and that was unsolicited, by the way. She brought up the
Yeah,
name.
nobody brought him up. She brought him up, and that's
Yeah.
why this is so suspicious.
Right. And yeah, she did say, I don't think Charlie could
But
have
it
done
doesn't
it.
matter. No one said Charlie but her.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Whether I should get a new one. And it was always like, it was always his joke that, like, he knew that Danny always treated me badly. And it was always his joke. He said, I looked into hiring a hitman and it was cheaper to get you this TV. So instead I got you this TV. And you do say you don't think he would do it, but can we agree you brought up his name on page 25 of the interview?
I did.
Do you want the culpable parties held accountable for murdering the father of your children?
Absolutely. I'm grateful they're already in jail.
But not if it's your family.
It's not my family.
I mean, somebody hired them, right?
not necessarily.
Somebody paid them.
I learned something this morning.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
You didn't want them held accountable if it was your family members. Didn't you tell law enforcement that?
That's not what I told law enforcement.
What did you tell law enforcement?
I told them that the person who did this should be held responsible and that I had nothing to do with it.
Page 122, lines 7 through 12. If somebody tried to kill my ex-husband, they should be prosecuted to the full extent of the law. The investigator says regardless of who it is, and your answer is, I mean, it would be different if I thought it were my brother.
But I don't think it was my family, is what I
Different
said.
now, isn't it?
No, it's not different. That's exactly
different
what I
today,
said
isn't
right
it?
here. No, that's not
No
right.
further questions.
That's
Yeah, and we're done.
duck. And here we go.
I'm talking about the first layer of the extortion. Did you have any contact with the thugs that were getting your money for 2 years?
No.
Did anybody put a gun to your head?
I was told that I would be killed in 48 hours if I didn't pay up.
I heard you say that, but
Yeah.
my question is, did anyone put a gun to your head?
You asked me, did anyone pull a gun on me?
That's what
Is
I
that your
asked you.
question? No,
Yeah.
nobody pulled a firearm on me.
All right, so when Catherine Magbanua came to you on July 18th and said, open the safe and give me all your money, she was not armed.
She was not carrying a gun that day,
And
no.
were you armed at that time? Did you have a weapon in your home?
I had weapons in my safe, yes.
Were you led to believe or told that the bad guys are outside, right outside your apartment or your residence?
No, but I was led to believe what they did to Dan, they were going to do to me.
So for some reason, K-Mags wanted all the money from his safe. She was not armed. He had access to a firearm. And so he cleaned out his safe. It was about $138,000 or so.
Wow. I wish I had a safe like that.
Right. Yeah. So
My safe has moths and dust.
what Georgia actually points out later is, remember the $1 million offer the family were going to make to Dan Markel to just skedaddle,
Mhm.
get out of town? Georgia mentions later that, doesn't this kind of save you some money? You were going to spend $333,000 and you got off with $130,000.
Yeah, right.
So it was a bit
It's
of
like
a
a
discount
bargain.
for Dr. Chuck.
I heard you say that, but my question is, did she say, like, the car's running, I'm going to take the money out there to him right now?
No, she never told me that they were waiting for me outside my house.
In fact, she stayed the night with you, didn't she?
Yes, she did.
And didn't exit your house with your $138,000 until the next day, right?
Correct.
You knew that the undercover agent was law
Here we
enforcement,
go.
or at least strongly suspected, because that's not the way it's done. And my question to you is, since you're an expert on extortion, because you've been extorted before and that's how you knew that's not the way it's done, is this the way it's done? Do extortionists send a girlfriend of their victim to collect their extortion money? Is that the way it's done, doctor?
I'm telling you what happened to me, and I was told that if I didn't pay in 48 hours, I would be killed. The person that came and extorted my mom, that was not the same approach as what happened to me.
Is that the only way? That's the only way it's done? They send the girlfriend?
It's the only time I've ever been extorted like that.
Okay.
Yeah. So Charlie's story is that
Okay,
Sigfredo,
but she stayed the night, dude.
she did.
He could have, while she fell asleep, taken his money back. He could have called the police.
Right.
He could have, give me a break. Oh, gosh.
Yeah, his story is that
Nobody in this family can lie well. They really should have thought this out better, you know?
he says Rivera Garcia and K-Mags, Katie Magbanua, got together and just thunk up on their own a plot. They would kill Dan first, mind you.
Mhm.
They'd just go kill him on their own. And then,
When he's not even married into the family anymore.
right.
You know?
And then they come to him. They're like, you're welcome. But we need some money for this. Yeah. So I think those events happened, but in a different order, Charlie. I don't think
Uh-huh.
that was the way it went down.
And at that point, the blackmailer, Catherine Magbanoa, negotiates some type of layaway plan for you to complete the extortion with the Latin kings?
Okay, Katie wasn't the blackmailer, and Katie wasn't the one who was extorting me.
Didn't you just tell this jury that Katie was the blackmailer? You realized it in 2019.
I had thought that when you were just talking, you were talking about 2014.
Oh my gosh.
You were talking about that night,
Okay.
so that night happened in
Doctor.
2014.
Okay.
When she said, I'm going to go check with my friend, and if that's okay with him, she took her purse, took her keys, took her cell phone, she walked out of my front door, closed the door behind her, and I sat in my living room, and she came back about 5 minutes later.
You didn't want to talk to the guy yourself?
No, I didn't even think of that. I mean, but she went outside to call him.
So he takes her word for it that there's these guys that, you know, want the money, and she's gonna give it to him. That sounds a little sus.
So the text messages aren't what they appear to be. It's a beautiful day. I'm going to the pool. I'm going to the beach. I'm going to the gym.
This is right
None of
after
that is
she
what
left
it
with the
appears
money.
To be, it's something else.
I absolutely did not go to the gym. I was trying to show her that I was, you know, pretending like nothing ever happened and looking past it.
And there's
But I
nothing
wasn't.
on the wire. All those hours of you talking. There is nothing on the wire about the extortion, this layer 1 of extortion, because she told you not to talk about it, right?
She told me to never talk about anything to anyone or her. She never wanted to hear about it again.
Mm-hmm.
But nowhere, even in the midst of this whole second extortion, it's happening again. It's an extension of the same thing. Do you mention anything about this layer 1 of the extortion? Do you?
Yes, actually I did.
Okay.
If you pull up the video from Matsuri when I was sitting with my dad and I said, and the funny thing is, that's what I whispered in his ear.
Right, but we can't hear that.
Right, because that's my point. I never wanted anybody to hear what had happened. I never wanted the police to come talk to me. But if you put up that video, you'll actually see me saying that it's my dad's ear, and that's why I went in and said it. And that's what we were talking
You
about.
can claim you're saying anything to him.
Yeah, so
Meanwhile, you're like, I'll have a cheeseburger if you're going to make a run. You know?
let's review this. So the only important point that would have exonerated Charlie, the only phrase that would get him off, he whispered into his dad's ear.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, we can't hear
Oh,
that.
well, if we can't hear it, it didn't count. You know?
At the time. So
At
it's relevant.
Matsuri, the only time you mention the extortion, it's in a whisper that is not picked up by the microphones, right?
Intentionally, yes.
Yes. And that was intentional at the time, but it sucks for your defense, right? Because that would be a huge piece of evidence for you to show this jury, wouldn't it?
Mhm.
No, I think you'd come up with a reason why that I said it anyway.
And there's nobody to corroborate this testimony.
There is.
Okay.
Why aren't they here?
And the Matsuri, you talked about it again out in the parking lot, right? Wasn't that your testimony?
Yes, we spoke in the parking lot.
Okay, so you did talk about the extortion.
That's
You just didn't do it in a way that it was captured on any of the recordings in this case.
well, we spoke when we had privacy.
I mean, there's a reason to fear for her safety because these killers have come, they've just killed Dan, and now they're saying they're going to kill another one. It could be Wendi, right?
She has no idea what's going on.
Exactly. But you let her move from Tallahassee to Miami where you knew the killers were located. That's my point. Do you
Yeah, so
Yeah.
Charlie's being extorted by these monsters who he knows have killed or want to kill, and he's not telling his sister or anybody in his family. Like, he's
Mhm.
not worried that whoever this is on a
We'll go
murderous-
after the other family members.
Right.
Right.
Plus, he's on a payment plan, and he's not paying as much as he originally agreed anyway. They're very understanding.
Very
these
understanding.
hitmen.
Yeah.
agree with that?
The killers were able to find Dan Markell in Tallahassee. They have a car.
They were. But would you rather live in Tallahassee or in Miami if the killers are in Miami?
Yeah, he does say something like that at one point. Not intentional, but it was a different phrase. But yeah, he could use the Sarah Boone defense, Renee. I mean, that's as good a chance as any. right?
Mm-hmm.
I think if these people want to find you, they'll find you. I mean, I don't think. I mean, looking at Luis Rivera, I don't think a distance would stop him.
Okay. And the extortion money that you were paying, $3,000 a month, that wasn't going towards the principal of whatever was left on the $333,000, right? Didn't you testify to that?
Correct.
All right. So you never came up with the remaining bulk of the money. That
Yeah, I
you
know
owed.
Capital One
Never.
wouldn't go for that with me. You know.
Yeah, they wouldn't let that slide.
Yeah, no.
Nobody ever came after you for that?
No, they said you could pay it all off and it'll be done, or just pay $3,000 a month. So I thought about paying the full amount.
Weren't you scared that if you broke up with her that she would sick the Latin Kings on you?
No, because I had every intention of paying every month. When I broke up with her and I said, listen, I don't want to surround myself with this. I'm scared. She said that she was going to come every month and pick up the money and protect me. And she understood. I mean, our relationship was on the rocks.
He's on the layaway plan, and he's got a protector in his ex-girlfriend.
Who he's dumping.
He's dumping,
Yeah.
but they're still cool and they hang out.
Yeah,
And
it's all good.
Yep.
Yeah.
But you've
July.
testified that all the gifts and stuff that you gave her were to keep her happy, right?
that name sounds familiar, Oceana DX. I'm going to have to look up the Richard Merritt case after this. Sounds familiar, though.
Yeah, when I realized that she's the one who's protecting me and she wasn't a part of this extortion, I had no problem keeping her happy, and I looked for things to do, nice things to do for her because she was broke.
But not worried about pissing her off by breaking up with her.
Mm-hmm.
Well, our relationship was definitely on the rocks. After July 1st,
I'll bet.
when Sigfredo cut me off and threatened me and called my dad, and then she knew I didn't even invite her to my dad's birthday party, which was a family gathering with family friends on July 5th. She knew we were going to be done.
Why is she telling you to erase her number and leave her alone?
Because I broke up with her.
Exactly. On 9/14 or 9/11 of 14, she sends you hashtag bestie for life. Do you remember that?
It sounds familiar.
So did you all have some kind of reconciliation after the breakup?
No, I was probably doing a favor and making her happy with something.
On
Probably borrowed some
10/6
money.
of 2014,
Besties for
I
life.
love you. It makes me feel good that you care about me. I'm lucky to have you as part of my life. Do you remember sending that to her?
Yeah.
She's the person that's taking the money from you physically.
She's the one. I looked at it as she's the one who's protecting me. If she wasn't, I was going to get a visit
Is
from
she
somebody.
the one that was physically taking the money?
Yes.
Is she the one that was connected to the person you suspected to have killed your brother-in-law?
I thought she was tied to that person. Yes.
And he was whispering sweet nothings all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And she's the one that got you into this, right? Because she ran her mouth.
And
Right?
I looked at that I ran my mouth too. And if I'd never said anything to her, this would never have happened. So I felt responsible for saying something to her in the first place.
But you didn't feel responsible enough to try to do anything about her sitting in jail, an innocent woman, for 3 years. Did you?
She never contacted me.
You didn't offer to testify in her trial. You let her get convicted and get life in prison, didn't you?
I thought the truth was going to come out.
He just thought the truth would come out. So his innocent girlfriend goes to jail for this crime that he knows nothing about.
Mm-hmm.
And he doesn't
The truth will
Call.
come out by someone else, not by me.
He doesn't bring her
Yeah.
flowers anymore.
Yeah.
And not through you.
I was never contacted.
Was she pretty worried about Wendy's marital problems?
No.
She wasn't.
I think she'd get
Okay,
upset when my sister would tell her things that Danny was doing and going to work, bad mouthing her. But
And they're talking about Donna here, the mother.
I figured
The
with
alleged
the
kingpin
little
would be
tag you
upset.
gave. Thank you.
But also, she would meticulously go through all the filings and send long emails detailing her thoughts about every filing in this divorce.
no, I don't think that's the case at all.
Okay. Did she hate Dan Markel?
I think she liked him in the beginning, for sure. And I think when he was being a a jerk to my sister. I think
I
that
think I know that
I
story.
don't think anyone
Yeah.
particularly liked him when he was being a jerk.
Were you laughing when Wendi was on the stand and I read all the names that Donna
Yes.
referred to Dan Markel as?
No, I laughed when you said the word fucker in court.
Okay.
Yeah, because he's like 11.
What did she mean when she said Dan Markel was trying to take her sunshines away? Do you know?
My mom never said that.
No. So
That
you
was,
never
that,
heard
was
her say
that was made up, and he put it in a court filing, and then now it becomes something that my mom said because someone made it up and put it in a court filing.
Did
My mom
you-
never said that.
Did your mom refer to the children as her sunshines?
No, the kids were 3 and 4. A 3 and 4-year-old can't repeat a conversation.
Are you kidding?
I wouldn't say anything in front of my 4-year-old that
No
I didn't
way.
want the world to know.
Madeline won't shut up the minute she can speak.
They're like parrots.
All they do is repeat.
Yeah.
Why did Wendi testify that she was getting along well with Dan Markel just prior to his death? Can we agree that's not true?
I think there were ups and downs in how they got along. I mean, you got to ask her. She was on the stand. I mean, I wasn't living her life.
Is it part of your defense to
Oh,
minimize
weren't you?
how nasty and contentious this divorce was?
My defense is to tell the truth.
Isn't it true that you don't feel that Wendi appreciates everything you and Donna do for her?
My sister had no idea what I've been through in the last, God knows how many years. I wake
Oh,
up
that
worrying.
violin's too big.
Yeah, I searched for a tinier violin to put in the picture, but alas, I couldn't find one.
Am I going to get killed? Am I going to get arrested? And she knows none of it. She's just going around her life, and I had somewhat of an innate anger towards her. You know, probably unjust because she didn't know what happened.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was upset.
And weren't you saying on the wire that she doesn't appreciate what you and Donna have done for her?
I don't know if I said that she doesn't appreciate what I've done for her because I never did anything for her.
Okay,
Other
so
than
that was my
other than
next
give her
question.
advice.
What have you done for her? Nothing?
Other than
Lately.
give her advice and care about her and be a big brother that loves her.
Would you say Wendy's a little bit spoiled?
In some regards, I mean, she gets a lot of help for sure.
She
Yeah, Renee, the family doesn't
extortion
sneeze
money.
without
Is that the
discussing
way
it.
it's done, Doctor?
Oops.
I
Sorry.
laughed when you said the
You
word fucker in court.
Yeah, sorry about that.
What
Let
are
me.
you pushing?
I don't know if I've seen her interview.
Why did you brag to Jeffrey LaCasse about your
There we go.
connection to the Cuban criminal element?
Never said that to Jeff LaCasse.
So he's making that up?
If he said it,
All these
I never
people
said it.
just lie.
Yep.
It's like no one's honest.
And-
Only Jackie.
And Jeffrey LaCasse, remember, was Wendy's ex-boyfriend, and he alleges that she told him basically about Charlie's plan to hire a hitman
Ah.
because it was so funny. You know,
it's
it was
hilarious,
just a joke.
right?
You were in here when he said it, weren't you?
I heard him say it, yeah. But I never said that to him.
Can we agree that Wendi was stressed out about the issues surrounding her divorce?
I think the divorce caused stress in her life, yes.
And you were hearing about it from your mother, weren't you?
Yeah, I would hear.
Wendy's totally stressed out. Yesterday was a rough one. That sort of.
If Donna is anything like my mom, and my mom is not an evil psychopath that I know of,
No.
but if you tell her anything, the rest of the family is going to know.
Oh, yeah.
Within a few
Yeah.
hours, you know,
My mom too.
the
yeah.
phone tree starts
Right.
and then they dial until. So yeah, I don't believe that Donna,
kept it a secret from
as
him.
hyper vigilant as
Yeah.
she is.
thing.
Yes, it's like I said it before, is that my sister would tell my mom a story. I'd be sitting in the car driving. My mom would be talking to me and telling me the latest story of the day. And that's how I found out a lot.
And then on 2/19 of 14, Donna texts you again to tread lightly with Wendi and refers to Dan Markel as an asshole and a fucker, right?
Sorry. You made me laugh. Sorry.
Oh my gosh!
Is
Seriously?
that what happened?
Right.
That text?
She said poopy.
Did my mom use a foul word to describe him?
Yes, sir. Asshole and fucker, to be specific.
Oh my gosh!
And he's still
He's
like
gonna hear that word a lot, dude. I mean,
yeah, he's gonna hear a lot more worse words in prison.
is he
I wonder.
gonna giggle every
Right, I wonder if
time?
he'll be giggling. We'll find out. We'll report back.
She used a curse word correct.
Is that pretty strong language for your mom, or is that how she speaks?
I mean, it is pretty strong language, but I think I mean, I've been called a lot worse.
Yes, it's how she speaks. Just say it.
Did your mom ever drop the F-bomb?
No. My mom has sworn, and then she says, "Pardon my French," but it's usually just
The
like
S word
shit.
at the very
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
We've heard
yeah.
a lot about her being put on the payroll at the Adelson Institute, and she made this demand to you when you met her to give her the first extortion payment on the payment plan. Is that correct?
She didn't make a demand. When I gave her the $3,000 for her friend, she asked me if I could do her a favor and put her on payroll for $1,000 a month, so that she could get insurance for her kids. She was going to cash the check, and the money was still going to her friend, so that money wasn't going to her.
So he's admitting to a crime right here, putting
Remember,
her
that's illegal.
giving her a no-show job.
That's illegal.
She was getting insurance for her
And
kids
did you
as a favor.
believe her that she would give the money from the paychecks to the friend?
I believe what she was saying to me, yeah.
Isn't it true that Catherine McBanoa actually asked you to place her on the payroll back in June, prior to this extortion effort?
I don't know if I put her on payroll. She asked me if I could put her as something when I was dating, or put her as something on the office so she could get insurance. But I never did.
And that was in June.
Yeah, I remember she'd asked me about it before, but I never did anything.
And did she ask if you could do that in between the two trips that the killers made?
I didn't know when they went up, but I found out later that they went up in
Right.
June.
All right, so
He's finding out things on the fly, just like Wendi.
I know, Wendy. I just found out today.
that
Yeah.
email would have been sent, or I'm sorry, it's a text. That text would have been sent prior to what you're calling.
Okay, I have to say
first
something. Why are they communicating so much via text? What are they, stupid?
Right.
Why
Well,
is there so much text?
well, because, honey, they're talking in code.
Ugh.
So nobody knows.
Oh, right. Nobody.
they're
This is
saying.
insane.
layer of the extortion.
That text was sent to me while I was dating her, but I never.
Prior to the first layer of extortion,
The text was sent in June,
prior to the first layer of extortion,
before I was extorted. Yeah. Before I broke up with her.
and you say several times on the wire that she was cleaning at the office. Was she really cleaning?
No, she never worked for us.
She was doing some type of cleanup for you, wasn't she?
No.
Did you pay for a trip, or offer to pay for a trip to Santo Domingo for Catherine McBanoa and Sigfredo Garcia to visit his parents?
Nice.
I didn't know who she was going with, but I paid for. You're talking about airline tickets?
Yes.
She called me up. She had an emergency. Something happened. She booked tickets for the wrong date. I had no idea who in the family she was going with, and she had no money. And I remember I was in Chicago.
If she had no money, how did she buy the tickets for the wrong date to begin with?
Man, I wish we
Little
could
Miss
have.
Brokers.
I wish we could have been friends with Charlie Adelson before all this shit happens.
I
It
know.
sounds like all you have to do is ask him for money and make up a sob
I'm
story.
super broke. Can you send me to the Cayman Islands? You know,
My
like,
friend's
come
wedding,
on.
and I took out my credit card and I gave her the credit card number and let her book tickets. I thought she was going with her kids.
So is that a yes? You paid for
Oh,
the
yeah, no,
trip to
I remember
Santo
that well.
Domingo. So
For
go
sure.
quicker if we could just
I'm sorry.
answer the question.
Objection.
What's the objection?
Argumentative.
Overruled.
You offered to buy Catherine McBanoa and her mom a cruise.
Yes, Katie had mentioned to me that she always wanted to be able to take her mom on a cruise. So I offered, but she never took me up on it.
Did you call in prescriptions for Catherine McBanoa?
She was a patient of record of my office.
Did you pay for a meal service for Catherine McBanoa?
Yeah, I did.
Did you pay for car repairs for her?
Yeah, all this stuff was making me think she was broke. So yes, you're right.
Did you offer that she could use your Range Rover anytime?
I said she could borrow the car, sure.
Did she talk about getting a boat and you offered to help her get a boat?
I never offered to help her get a boat. I offered to help her look for a boat.
Did you receive a text from Catherine Magbanua that reads, "Next time, don't be such a dick to someone who has done something for you"?
Yeah, she's protecting me, and she's mad. She's mad at me over something.
Are these gifts what it took to secure her silence for so long?
No, absolutely not. I was never trying to get her silence. I was hoping she'd tell the truth.
Yeah, I can see extortionists just dragging it out and asking for more and more and more, but I can't see them offering a payment plan.
Yeah, right.
Catherine Magbanua said that you think you're untouchable. Is that
Especially
true?
at $3,000 a month.
Yeah.
Really?
That's not true at all.
Did your parents drop off money to you on the night of the murder?
I never saw my parents there. You could look at our cell phones and you'll find that out, that we never saw each other.
I did look at the cell phones, and what is on there is your mom texts you, quote, outside your house. And
No, I mean, look at the tower information.
I think you testified that that meant she was just passing by on the roadway.
She was approaching the area, yeah, to see if I was home.
All right, and do you know what your response was to her text?
Yeah, like 20 or 30 minutes later, I said 10 minutes.
I'm 10 minutes out, is what you
I
said.
think I said 10 minutes, but yeah, I'm not home.
Doesn't that indicate you're going to meet them at your house in 10 minutes?
No, I told her to let me know when you're going to be in the area.
He's losing the plot now. He's stammering and doesn't look comfortable.
And he keeps looking off to the side. You notice
Yeah.
that? Yeah.
We want to welcome all the people that just came into the room. We're watching Georgia Kappelman versus Charlie Adelson, who was convicted of first-degree murder just the other day. So hit the thumbs up if you're enjoying yourself. Please subscribe if you haven't and you've been lurking in the background. And we really appreciate it. That would help us out.
Why did whoever did it need to kill someone to extort you?
You gotta ask them.
Why couldn't they just come put a gun to your head and say, give me all the money in your safe?
Yeah, instead of going and killing Dan Markel, just hoping that would, yeah.
Or at least
Thank God.
kidnap him,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Thank God they didn't.
Thank God they didn't. I would have gotten killed.
Oh, and this is better.
If Garcia hated you, why would he drive to Tallahassee twice to kill someone you hated?
It sounds like he was part of the extortion, or Katie put him up to it.
Doesn't blackmail or extortion usually involve the extortionist having some kind of dirt on the victim?
I know how this was done to me. I know what. I'm just telling you what happened to me. I'm not an expert.
You're so full
If they
of
had come in
shit.
and threatened to kill you, would you have given them the money in your safe?
If someone came and put a gun to my head, and yeah, I would have opened up my safe and I would have given them the money.
That sounds a lot easier than
But
all
somebody
that
came
rigmarole.
without a gun to your head and you opened it up and gave them the money.
Yeah, true.
So,
I still don't get how killing Dan Markel advances the ball for them to extort money out of you. Do you?
Right.
Yeah, I have a theory. They could extort me for life, and I don't think they knew exactly how much I had in the safe. She knew I had a lot of money in the safe. But this way I could get extorted for life, and that's what happened. And I was stuck paying $3,000 a month.
But you could have gotten extorted for life just by the threat of death by
Right.
Latin King, couldn't you, Doctor?
I mean, this was as real of a threat as you get. I mean, these guys aren't messing around.
Yeah, I mean, Luis Rivera, the head of one of the most dangerous gangs in the country, and they could have just come in and said, give us the money, or we're going to do this or that. But nope, they had the other plan, the hitman plan.
Mom tells you on that first wire call that the bump involves the two of us, referring to yourself and your mom, right?
Yes, that's what she said.
And would you agree, prior to your explanation, that that looks pretty incriminating?
I think if you don't know what happened, you can assume the worst.
Isn't it true that you had to add the bit about confiding your extortion in your mom in order to put that toothpaste back in the tube?
No, that's what happened. When
Nice little dental reference. That was cute.
I got
Because-
the checks.
Otherwise, why would you bring your mom into this?
I didn't want to. When I first told her on the phone and asked her to write the checks, I told her, I said, just it's a long story. I brushed it off, and she didn't press anything, but I think she was out somewhere. It wasn't until when I picked up the checks that she started pressuring me and saying, this makes no sense. Why are you doing this? You're not dating Katie. And that's when she found out.
But your mom is the most high-strung out of
Yeah.
the group, right?
Tracy Hernandez is here. Welcome.
Tracy, it's nice to see you pop in.
Yeah.
She's old and she worries, right?
I don't think she's super high strung, but she does worry about her
You
kids.
don't?
No. I never met her.
Well, you said she was, quote, notorious for making a big deal out of everything.
I mean, she overreacts, but she's a mom. I think a lot of moms overreact.
I was approached by another extortionist today. Does she say that?
No, she's talking very carefully.
You say carefully, but isn't carefully the same thing as code?
Yes.
No, they're two totally separate things.
Carefully
Really?
is code for code, definitely.
Yeah, it's code for code.
You know the difference?
You weren't really giving her money for a TV, were you?
Giving her money for a TV.
This TV is probably going to be about $5. I
Okay.
need you to bring cash tonight.
I wish she picked another object on planet Earth other than TV. But TV is code for absolutely nothing. There is no code in this case involving TV. And you keep circling and circling and circling TV, you're wrong.
Is it a coincidence that the repair of the TV that you bought Wendi as a divorce gift because it was cheaper than hiring a hitman is your sister's alibi for the murder, and then your mom brings up TV first call on the wire?
It's not an alibi for a murder. She had a broken TV. You got to ask Lincoln who threw the remote at the TV.
Was it a coincidence? Is the
He's blaming the kid for
Oh
throwing
my
the remote
gosh,
at the
let's
TV.
let's
What
throw
an
the
a-hole.
4-year-old in jail.
You know, unlikely events happen all the time because we have so many people on the earth. You know, it's bound to, a 1 in a million thing is bound to happen to somebody. Somebody wins the lottery. But Charlie has had over and over these unlikely events.
Did he say it? Did she say it was $5,000 to fix the TV?
Yeah, the TV is going to be about $5,000.
$5,000.
Right. And
I think the most we spent on a TV is $1,000.
yeah,
Just buy a new TV.
right.
What
I just, he
is this? What
doesn't-
rich people do? I don't know.
this is how the other half lives, Tiffie.
I didn't know.
Take
It's
notes.
amazing.
Take
Okay,
notes, please.
I'll keep
TV
notes.
thing a coincidence? That's what I hear you say.
Oh, that the repairman was there that day?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that is a coincidence for sure.
And wouldn't it be good for you if the police investigation into the Prius led to the arrest of the killers/extortionists?
If they arrested the people that killed Dan,
Yeah.
I know the extortion would stop. As long as I kept my mouth shut, I'd be safe.
Right. So why are you trying to argue to her that like the car is not going to lead anywhere? They're not going to be able to do anything with the car.
Right.
That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that I know that Sinclair wasn't the one who killed him.
Georgia's about to bust out the exact quote here.
Dude, I love
Did
it.
you say on this recording if they're a bad guy, there's two ways of dealing with it. Go ahead and contact the police. They'll contact him, the blackmailer, and arrange a setup. Take him down and he'll proffer 10 years and now tell us everything you know or else you're going to serve 10 years in prison. Next thing you know, this person is singing. He's calling out your name. My parents are going to have to tell the story of what happened. Singing about what? About the extortion?
I knew you'd like that one.
Oh my god. I love her inflections.
Yep.
No, I think you're reading it wrong. I know the audible is bad.
What would
Are those the words?
Yes, sir. What would
Is Charlie even saying words right now? That was like a mumble.
the extortionist, and now I'm referring to the one that contacted your mother.
The Latin King extortion.
Well, they're both Latin
Yeah.
kings, right?
The second extortion.
You and us both, Tracy.
What would they have to sing about?
Right.
The second extortion would be singing and talking about the first extortion, where they learned their information from.
Who cares? That doesn't have anything to do with you.
Well, when they catch the first extortion, Katie's tied to them and I'm tied to Katie. They're going to come talk to us, and we're going to be in danger when we tell them what happened.
All right. So give us a
La,
summary.
la, 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 la.
Tiffie Lou, give us a summary of what he just said.
I got confused. Did you see my face?
I
Little
lost.
eyebrow
I
went up.
have no idea.
Yeah,
I don't.
I'm
kind of trailed off at the end.
Yeah, he doesn't know
So
either.
that's I was saying if they catch the second, they're going to turn in on the first, and that's the same thing I said yesterday.
Yeah, and guess what? When the effing police show up and there's a doctor, there's an oral surgeon standing there with a dead gang member in his effing driveway, they're not going to come down too hard on me.
Mm-hmm.
So you knew you'd be believed if you went to the police, right?
Pineapple.
Oh, you're trying not to sneeze.
Yeah.
I see.
I didn't know I'd be believed, but I feared for my life.
And then you say, so help me God, if they fuck with my family, it's going to be fucking Nazi shit. Because this will be done. You know what I'm saying? I mean, Katie, I don't care what I spend, okay? I swear to God. What is Nazi shit?
Did he giggle when he said the F word that time?
Oh, I wonder if he giggles at Nazi.
That's an expression that Katie would use to describe someone that's going crazy. 'Cause I think the Nazis were absolutely crazy people. So I'm saying I'm going to get somebody to go crazy on the guy that's trying to extort my mom for money. I'll pay someone to go threaten him and to scare him. I was not
Nazis-
talking about killing anybody.
Well, you say the word kill. Yes?
No. Oh, when you're putting the words in my mouth, well, we can
No,
do that
sir.
sentence.
Do you say the word kill?
Oh. He's
Getting
going
testy now.
Yeah, you're getting
Yeah.
a little upset
He
there,
never-
Chuckles.
He never quite boils over, but his lid is definitely, hopping on top
Oh,
of the
yeah,
pot.
yeah. He's like ready to
I'm
crap.
talking about if Sigfredo's coming after you, he's such a dangerous guy, you'd have to kill him to stop him. That's the only thing you could do. Not talking about killing the extorter. I'm talking second extortion.
Okay.
I'm saying that if Sigfredo's coming after you, the only thing that you could do is you'd have to kill him to stop him. I'm not talking about killing anybody. I'm talking about that's the only way that you could stop Sigfredo from coming after you is you would have to kill him.
If you come to kill the Latin king, you best not miss.
And that's exactly what I said there. You're wrong. That's exactly what I said.
Oh, she's wrong.
And then you say, listen, you giving somebody money is not an admission of any kind of guilt. Would paying the money have made her look guilty?
That's what she was saying to me. Is she said it's the police. And you can't pay the police. They're going to think you were part of a murder and they're going to arrest you.
But if it was an extortionist, it could have created a monster, right?
And if you don't pay the extortionist, you could get killed.
So when
Or you
these
could keep getting
guys...
extorted.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I said if you don't pay the extortionist, you could get killed or you could keep getting extorted.
But your main concern was that if we pay, this guy will think I'm an ATM machine, right? He'll keep coming back again and again and again. Don't you articulate that to Catherine Magbanua?
If it was an extorter, that was one of the concerns. The other concern was not paying him and getting killed.
Why are you explaining extortion and how extortion works to Catherine?
We're all going to get a lesson on
Oh,
extortion.
good. I need to be enlightened.
Right. And her question is, why are you explaining extortion to Catherine Magbanua, affectionately known as K-Mags?
Mm-hmm.
Magbanua.
In there?
Yeah,
Because I know.
but she knows too, doesn't she?
So I repeat myself. I do that.
You also explain it to your mother how extortion works, and she's has known about it for 2 years too, right?
From what I told her, yeah.
Do you think you can talk your way out of this?
No, I don't. I'm not part of a murder.
Who are they going to believe, right? An oral surgeon or a gangster?
Right.
That's extorting me in my driveway and coming in.
An oral surgeon that's a wannabe gangster versus the real gangster.
It's just weird the person he chose to be his girlfriend and her connection.
right.
You know?
Yeah, convenient.
Threatening
Yeah.
me?
You're untouchable, right?
No, I'm not part of this murder.
Elliot
Yeah.
There was
Mess.
a lot of talk about going to the police on the wire, which I think we've well established did not happen. But you've always gone to the police before, right?
I've had other things that I've gone to the police for, yeah.
Do your nephews deserve to know the whole truth about who killed their father?
Yeah, now they do.
Do Danny's parents deserve to know what happened to their son?
Absolutely.
And you say you knew. I mean, you now say you knew a big piece of what happened, right?
Yes.
Do you feel bad about not volunteering that to Danny's parents?
I feel a sense of relief that now I was able to tell everybody what finally happened.
Yesterday, almost 10 years later, right?
Yeah.
And that's because you didn't just know a big piece of it. You were a big piece of it, weren't you, Doctor?
I was extorted, and I knew a lot, yeah.
Interesting seeing her. She'll be in a one of those smocks that prevents you from harming yourself.
No way, like a straitjacket?
No, well, not quite a straitjacket, but it's Daryl Brooks wore one when he came in. It just keeps you from self-harm. You can't really do anything
can't
to
move.
yourself. Yeah, you can't tear it. You can't wind it up. But here is Donna Adelson in court. I like this judge. I've
I
seen her
gotta say,
before.
I don't know many clothes I can wind up, but I'll go with whatever you're saying.
Right. Amelia Sparkle is, yes, a turtle suit. It's called a turtle suit.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, thank you, Kim. Charlie needs to open his eyes and turn on all of them. They left him in jail to take the rap. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's time to start speaking, Charlie.
He was their one hope.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess they thought he had a chance. I'm sure that's why he went on the stand, because his defense was not looking very good up until that point. So you may as well take a shot at it. But this is Donna Adelson's morning over in Florida. Let's take a look at that.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Good morning.
And I apologize, it is an in-state warrant. I did write out of state.
We have a busy calendar today, so
You do.
There's the turtle suit.
Oh, wow. Okay. Looks like a bulletproof vest.
It does. Yeah, I mistook it for one earlier.
ma'am, you were arrested on a warrant from Leon County, Florida.
I'm sorry.
The charges are public order crimes. It says attempted solicitation, conspiracy to commit a capital felony, homicide, willful, it says homicide, but maybe attempted homicide, I'm sorry.
But it's not spelled
Attempted
out.
solicitation or conspiracy to commit homicide.
Yikes.
It looks like 2 counts of that. So your attorney is here.
Thank goodness
Ms.
for that.
Picasso, anything you want to say?
Good morning, Your Honor. Marisol Descalzo on behalf of Donna Adelson. We are going to waive extradition to Leon County.
It's an in-state warrant, which means, so basically you have a warrant from Leon County. It sounds like really serious charges. They have up to 15 days to come and pick you up. The reset date here is November 29th to make sure you get picked up. So Ms. Delcazo, what you can do is reach out to Leon County, the prosecutor's office there, and see if they'll agree to a bond.
So she has waived extradition to the other county. That's all that is. And speaking of extradition, that's why she chose Vietnam and Dubai, because they don't have a straightforward agreement with the U.S. apparently.
Yeah, she can't
to
just be
extradite.
yanked back.
Yeah, so it would have taken some time, and they just decided we're just going to nab her at the airport before they go anywhere.
If they do agree to a bond, you're welcome to contact Ms. F. She can send you a sample order we use. And with that order,
Couldn't have happened to a sweeter person. I agree. Yep.
we can sign.
Judge, I think it's unlikely there's going to be an agreement on this.
What's a solicitation case? Anyway. Okay, so you want to hear something funny though? She looks like a lady that was on my airplane yesterday. Did you come in from Paris?
I did not. I wish.
What do you think Donna's thinking as the judge
She
is having
looks like she's just like
the judge is having a casual conversation about jetting in from Paris, and Donna is just sitting there. This is the worst day of her
oh
life.
my gosh.
And everybody else is going home today.
She looks like a lady who's on the airplane with me for real. And I'm sorry you're going through all this. They have 15 days to pick you up. The reset date's November 29th. Okay?
Thank you, Your Honor.
Good luck to you.
Good luck to
That's
you.
it for that.
This is Mrs. Adelson. Is this Sammy? Okay.
Oh, sorry. This is a call between Mrs. Adelson, the family matriarch, Donna, and the undercover agent. This is the guy that gave her the
Oh,
paper.
the dude that approached her on the street.
Yep.
Right. Okay.
So he is playing that he's a little miffed that he hasn't heard from her in a while. And, he wants it taken care of. So let's take a listen.
My grandchildren had my phone before, so I said, Adelson? I'm Mrs. Adelson. Yes. My grandchildren had my phone before, so that's, and I just saw that you called.
Oh, okay. You left a message on my voicemail.
Right, I did.
Yeah.
This is my problem. You approached me on Alton Road. You handed me an article from the newspaper about my ex-son-in-law. You told me I need to call you and help your friend who was in prison. Now, at the time you did that, I didn't understand what you were talking about. I didn't call you back. Then you mailed me a threatening letter. Then you send me a text message to my phone that says I'm not taking you seriously. So I am taking you seriously.
So this is the Adelsons are completely under-equipped to deal with the underworld element here.
Yeah, they have no idea what they're doing.
She goes on in a tone like she's trying to contact the manager at Kohl's, but he's like getting straight to business.
And I really want you to listen to me. I have to tell you, I mean,
You're welcome, Lucy. I think you meant for letting me know, but we will never let you go, Lucy. We love you too much.
This is important. I have been so stressed out. I have spoken to 10 or 12 people who are close friends of mine, telling them about this and basically picking their brains and asking them what I should do, because I don't know your friend who is in jail. You mentioned a name. I don't even know his name. I never spoke to him. I don't know what he looks like. I've never met him.
Yeah, that's the idea. You're not supposed to know these things.
I'm sorry your friend's in jail, but I don't know what that has to do with me.
You know exactly what it has to do with. You know exactly what. Listen to me carefully. Listen to me. You just got to listen to me.
You need to ask your friend.
Welcome, Keith. We're glad you made the live broadcast too. Good to see you. We are listening to a phone call between Donna and the undercover cop who played the bump guy, and they're discussing business.
Who this person looks like, what their name is, something, because I know there's a big reward out there, and if you need money for your friends, that's the way to get it. I mean, I'm asking you nicely. I don't know who he is. I am out of the loop. It is
She's asking nicely, Tiffie. She's out of the loop.
not me. If I can help, I would help. I mean, that's what.
Just like I told you. Listen to me. Just like I told you that day. We know that your family had a problem up north. We know that problem was taken care of about a year and a half, 2 years ago. And we know that Katie has been taken care of and has been taken care of. Now my brother in jail, we were in Broward together. He told me the whole thing, and he hasn't been taken care of. You know. Now.
Yeah, this is a great moment because she's probably thinking, my God, I'm going to get a call every week for another $5,000 for the rest of my life. I think this is when it's finally starting to sink into her how big of a fucking mess she's in.
That you can't just hire people to go kill someone and think that it's over.
Right. Yeah, these people are the dumbest criminals. Like they had this 4D chess plan of just how to get it right and but they didn't have any exit strategy. and it's just they overlooked a lot of silly things. And
Right.
like, you can't play this off. Like, she obviously knows what it's about. Otherwise, she would have just hung up or be like, dude, stop harassing
I'm
my
gonna call
family.
the police.
Right.
Yeah.
All that's being asked for is 5K. That's all we're asking for is just 5K.
That's
and he told me everything, and I know everything. I know who's involved. I know everything, and I'll get the 100K for myself.
You know,
All I ask is to send the 5K. Everybody knows what's going on.
I don't, you're saying everyone knows. I know I lost my ex-son-in-law. I did not have anything to do with it. That's why I said, ask him what.
That's what my brother Tasso told me. He told me everything when we were in jail. He told me everything and who was involved. I know everything.
Well, I don't. That's the problem. I'm telling you.
She knows nothing.
It's not me. It's not me. I have had a year of aggravation, a year and a half of aggravation over this. My daughter, my grandchildren. It is not me. And when
I bet it's been pretty stressful.
Mm-hmm.
I asked my friends, what do they think? They said, well, this person needs to get a description of you because of what you look like, or it's not me. I don't know who caused this. It wasn't me. I mean, I don't know.
I'll tell you, just like that day when I talked to you, this is not going away.
Mm-hmm.
This is not going to go away because Tasso told me everything.
Adelson make some statements to you about her brother Charlie.
She did.
And what were those statements?
She asked to speak to me confidentially in a very serious tone of voice. Told me that Charlie had investigated all possible options to take care of the problem of Danny Markel, including hiring a hitman, which would cost about $15,000. And I later revised that and thought maybe it was $50,000, but the dollar amount was the only thing in question. She definitely said that Charles Adelson had looked into hiring a hitman to kill Danny Markel.
And when
Lucy says, Jeff is odd. He's a little quirky, don't you think?
Yeah.
He comes across as honest to me. I don't know what you guys think. Let me know. But,
He looks like my history professor.
Yeah. Hey, Randall. So Randall asks, why would she be shaking in her boots? And has a reason for asking the question. Well, one reason she would be is because of the conviction of her brother, but also there's an argument that she wouldn't be because she has
partial immunity.
The partial immunity. It seems like her and her lawyer have that maybe buttoned up, and a lot of legal experts I listen to today think that it's going to be difficult to build a case against her. So let's go on.
did she say Mr. Adelson had looked into hiring a hitman?
When the relocation was denied the previous summer.
Okay. All right. And the dollar amount, so she either said 15 or 50, you're not sure which?
That's correct.
Yeah, I mean, they're probably putting together a case against the whole family, so it took a long time. I don't like that she was out with the kids.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're teenagers now. It's going to be a rough life.
Okay. And when she said this, what was her demeanor like?
She's very serious.
All right, so definitely not the...
You got it, Randall.
To be confused with the TV joke?
No, I'd heard that joke repeatedly. I knew that joke. This was something very different. This was chilling, a little scary, made my stomach flip. I found it disturbing. The joke was said in a lighthearted manner, and this was not said in that way. This was serious and said confidential.
All right, thank you.
We went to yoga.
All right, and after yoga, was there a discussion about your relationship and the status of your relationship?
Yeah, a very brief one. I mean, yoga's not a great place to talk, obviously. So while we were sitting there, she seemed very cold, and I kind of got the feeling that it was over, that this was it. So as we walked to the car, I tried to talk to her about the relationship, and that didn't go well. And so I just kind of put up my hands and walked away, feeling sad that this was it. She had a series of deep.
Yeah, the children. So they all this time they've been with. Have they been with Danny's parents?
Yeah, I
Do
think
we
they're
know?
with Danny's parents.
Okay, well, thank God for that. Because allegedly, like in the divorce filings, we heard that they were trying to turn the kids against Danny. And yeah, so.
Detailed questions about what I would be doing on Friday.
And Friday is going to be July 18th, right?
Yes,
And that's the date of the homicide?
that's exactly right.
What were her inquiries of you regarding that date?
I had a trip planned to Tennessee. She was aware that I was planning to leave about 11 a.m. On Friday. I need to get to Atlanta for an early dinner, so with traffic, she knew I was departing at 11. And at the yoga studio in the parking lot, she had asked if I was still going. If I didn't go, why not? What route I would be taking.
She seems to want to know an awful lot of information of what he's doing on the day of the planned.
For somebody she no longer wants to be dating.
Right.
Yeah,
And
interesting.
like he said, when they left their last date, she didn't seem interested at all.
Yeah, he's like, it didn't go well.
Right.
Yeah.
And then she calls him back, and all of a sudden,
Hey,
she's
you free on Friday?
right. She's really interested in talking to him, and that just that smacks of just yuckiness.
A lot of bizarre amount of interest in that
Yuckiness.
trip that didn't make sense to me at the time, given that she didn't want to spend time with me.
And how does it make sense to you now?
Well, if I had left on my trip at the scheduled time that she had known about for quite a while, I would have driven pretty close to Danny Markel's house about the same time as at the murder, in a similar looking car to the suspect vehicle.
We've
Yeah. So, does anyone think that he's just overly paranoid, or I mean,
Dude,
I
don't
really
know.
believe.
If my ex is suddenly like wrapped up in some kind of thing, I would start rethinking everything.
There is no reason for this line of questioning.
Yeah,
And
this is
you know what I
weird.
mean?
Yeah.
When she was so the cold
Wanting to
shoulder.
set it all up perfect.
Mm-hmm.
heard you were called in as a potential suspect, and apparently named by a Jane McPherson. Do you know who that is?
I do.
Okay, who is that?
That was a friend of Wendi Adelson's, and she was a doctoral student in our program. I had not much of a relationship with her, just a kind of a working relationship. We'd worked on a couple of projects together, but I didn't know her very well at all.
But someone that knew that you had been dating Wendi.
Have a good night, Randall. Thanks for stopping by.
Yeah, I think she was a confidant of Wendi Adelson's, yes, for sure. She went out to dinner with Charlie for what he called a celebration dinner. He said something to her. She spontaneously vomited on the table.
And this would have been within how much time after the homicide?
Within a few weeks.
Was it specified that the celebration was in reference to Dan Markel's death as opposed to anything else?
Wasn't specified.
Okay. But whatever it was, that's the dinner where she vomited.
That's right. That's right.
Also a weird thing to share with a guy that you're not really
Not
intending
dating.
on dating again.
Right, yeah.
I think one thing that has been established is you
Oh,
believe
the angry guy. This guy's so angry.
Yeah, Tiffie Lou doesn't like this guy, but he does have his moments.
I told you, it sounds like he learned how to be a lawyer from watching like Law and Order or something.
Or
you know?
Better Call Saul.
Yes, it's just like he's performing lawyer.
Okay. I just think he's trying to give Charlie his best shot. I mean, he's got to.
What choice does he have?
Yeah, what choice does he have? He's got to go for the touchdown here. He needs it. There's 2 seconds left on the clock.
that Wendi Adelson tried to frame you for Professor Markel's murder, right?
I'm suspicious that there was an effort made in that way, yes.
And so that has affected your viewpoint, correct?
Sure.
So you meet with Charlie Adelson. He tells you that he's in the he's friends with people in the criminal element. You say thanks for a great meeting, correct? Send him a nice text.
The next day I sent him a text, yes.
You don't go to the police.
No, I don't go to the police.
And we were talking about that earlier, Tiffie Lou. I could see hearing this but thinking, no,
I wouldn't go to the police either necessarily.
At this point. I mean, yeah.
In July of 2014,
Yes.
about a week before the murder,
Snappy.
when you're breaking up with Wendi Adelson, or things are seriously not good, she sits you down and she says, Jeffrey, I've got to confide in you.
And this fits with this comment. I think a small part of Wendi confessed to Jeff because he was her pseudo therapist. She cried and whined a lot to him, and he was always listening and supportive and gave her advice. I mean, yeah, you can't tell your real therapist you killed a guy or tried to have a guy killed. So he was there.
My brother actually looked into hiring a hitman. That's your testimony here today.
No, she didn't sit me down. She said it in passing, and she had a habit of blurting out things that weren't in her own self-interest. But she did do that. She did make that statement, yes, sir.
And it was chilling to you.
It was.
Unlike the joke, you thought it was real.
It was real, yes.
Did you go to the police?
I did not.
Yeah, that extortion defense where the three of them dream up this murder.
Oh my gosh.
We're gonna do it different, guys. We're gonna go kill him first, and then we're gonna blackmail the family.
Yeah, but he's already dead. What am I paying you for?
Well, to not say that you guys did it and to frame you. Yeah. So
you said, because it's hard for me, because if she would take me back right now, I would go back to her.
Yeah, I was still under her spell to some degree. I would say I was fairly pathetic at that point. I would acknowledge that. Yeah.
So
I give him props for that.
She's probably amazing in bed. Okay? I mean, the crazies are always amazing in bed.
I don't have any personal experience with it, do I? I'm not sure what the answer is supposed to be there.
Your inflection on that comment.
We're just gonna hit pause.
Let me understand this, because I want to make sure I've got it right. I don't want to put words in your mouth.
Sure you do.
Wendi Adelson has told you that her brother looked into hiring a hitman sometime in 2013.
Mentor, shout out to Mentor Lawyer.
I see you there in the background, your little glasses.
Yeah. He was right on it last night when the news came in. It came on YouTube and other internet sites before it was on the mainstream, network.
That seems to always be the case, to be honest.
13. He gets murdered.
He does.
You go to an interview, and during that interview, you're still thinking about staying with Wendi Adelson. You don't want to talk badly about her because you still want to be with her.
You're talking about this July 23rd interview specifically?
Yes.
Yeah, it only been a week. It was still pretty fresh. I was still pretty mixed up. That's right.
So,
yeah, I mean...
Yeah, what do you think? People don't just make conclusions in like an instant.
Yeah, and I've had some pretty pathetic moments in relationships in the past. Yeah. If you don't know, Tiffie Lou was my first girlfriend in high school. We met way back then. But yeah, so obviously
had some more pathetic ones after that, though,
we did. I think the more pathetic ones came later in life.
Oh, that's sweet.
Yeah.
What happened in September of 14? What happened in
love her face.
October of 14? What happened in November of 14? What happened in December of 14? January of 15? February of 15? You still didn't think that was important to tell the police?
I'm happy to answer that. I think you deserve an explanation on that. You may have noticed in my March 6, 2015 interview, I come in with notes, big pile of notes. Those notes are written in July of August. They're written pretty quick after the murder. I didn't come in right away, partially because I was scared of your client. I was scared of the repercussions if I went on the record further about
Yeah.
my suspicion. So I was reluctant to come back in because I was frankly scared.
Yeah, duh. He hired. She's
Yeah.
involved in hiring somebody to kill her ex. Why wouldn't you be next on the list?
Right.
Of course, you're going to keep your mouth shut for at least a time being.
Here's
you know?
Charlie talking like a tough guy, and he's heard it, and they know
Mhm.
he's heard it. He's got access to some drugs he could just inject them with and get it all over.
Of course,
so
he's going to keep his mouth shut.
yeah,
I get it. You were scared of him in August of 14, but you
Yeah.
weren't scared of him in March of 2015.
And I decided to man up. I decided it was a homicide and needed to man up. That's the decision I came
Right.
to.
You weren't scared
oh look at Charlie.
to tell him that my client had actually looked into a hitman a year earlier. That didn't scare you. You could tell him that in July.
No, I was.
Hold on, sir. Let me ask the question.
Yeah, was he up all night, Lucy? I would imagine as the news was coming in, he had a live, she said, at 2 a.m. and then another one at 4 a.m.
Oh my gosh.
And he was live early
Hats
this
off
morning.
to mentor lawyer. I
Yeah.
mean, yeah.
He really
In July of 2014, you told police that Charlie Adelson, you heard, actually looked at hiring a hitman. You weren't scared to tell him that.
I asked for police protection. I was scared.
You told them that in July of 2014. Isn't that correct?
Yes, in the same conversation, I said, can I get some assurances? Can I get some protection? I have something I want to tell you. I'm scared to tell you.
But you were too scared to tell him about a celebration dinner comment, and you waited almost half a year to tell him?
Well, I did wait half a year to tell them, but the notes I brought in were written right after that interview.
Okay, I have a question. Waiting half a year, waiting a year, waiting 4 years, that has nothing to do with the killing of Dan Markel. I mean, I don't understand what argument the attorney's going for. He's not involved in this. So he waited to tell someone. He was terrified to say something.
Yeah.
But what does that have to do with anything? Like, I don't understand the connection.
Yeah,
How
I
is
mean-
this going to get Charlie off?
Right, and how does this really impeach his credibility?
Oh, so you're making the boyfriend look like he just too scared to tell somebody because he's
Yeah.
scared of your client. You know?
Estranged one said Napoleon syndrome. I was astounded when I saw him and Georgia Kappelman standing side by side. I don't think Georgia Kappelman is like 6 feet tall or anything, but she towers over
Man,
this.
she's taller than
Yeah.
me.
I also wanted to get my thoughts together because I thought this day might come.
Yeah.
And I wanted, in those first two interviews, there was a lot going on. It was pretty traumatic, so I wanted to collect my thoughts. So that's what.
To me, he just comes off as really genuine.
Yeah, honestly, yeah. It's like you're attacking the wrong person over here.
Yeah.
What I was doing, in addition to being pretty frightened and having to get over that idea.
Isn't it true that those comments never happened and you're upset because you believe that this family tried to frame you for murder?
Everything I'm saying is true.
I'm sure it is. May I have a moment, Your Honor?
Move to strike the I'm sure it is.
What a dick.
Yeah, that was a little snippy.
It's funny when Georgia does it, we're happy though. So
Yeah, Georgia does it with a little more class than that, though. I
Mhm.
mean, a little more snark. So this is her last question on a redirect now for Jeffrey LaCasse.
Information.
Because it was a past tense thing she was reporting, I did not sense there was a present danger. I didn't know hitmen had already visited Tallahassee. I didn't
Yeah.
realize there was an active murder plot.
In hindsight, should you have gone to the police with this information?
Yes.
Yeah,
One moment, please.
we don't have the benefit of hindsight, unfortunately. There she is. Thank you,
Ms. Adelson,
Adriana.
if you come up to the witness stand, please.
All right, and does the immunity conferred upon you by the subpoena mean that you can never be prosecuted associated with this case?
That's right.
That's what you think it means?
That's what I think it means.
Okay.
Does it, though?
And do you think, isn't it true that it's use and derivative use immunity? Do you agree with that?
Yes.
Okay, but not complete immunity from prosecution. Do you agree with that?
That's different than what you just asked before. So I'm sorry, can you repeat the question?
All right. So what I'm trying to allow the jury to understand is what sort of immunity you have. What is your understanding of what it means for you to have immunity pursuant to the state's subpoena?
So I have.
All right. So we're about to find out what Wendi, a trained lawyer, thinks she has immunity for in this case.
Derivative and use immunity. And so in the future, a prosecutor couldn't use what I say here today against me.
Correct.
Right.
But you could be prosecuted. Just nothing you said here today could be used against you in that prosecution. Do you agree with that?
I suppose so.
Okay. Would you agree that this was a contentious divorce?
I think it was made much more difficult by Danny, who didn't want to get divorced, but sure, we can.
Oh my gosh, she has to get her digs in at Danny too. Yeah, Sparkle, she looks like she's about to bust up laughing at any moment with the look on her face. Definitely some duping delight there going on, I think.
Call it contentious.
Not what we would
Smirky.
classify as an amicable divorce. You hear about those.
No, it would be not an amicable divorce.
All right.
No
and
shit.
part of what you were seeking in your divorce in these documents in front of you was permission from the court to move with your children to South Florida. Is that correct?
That was part of the overall divorce proceedings.
All right. And specifically on pages 43 through 50.
Welcome T is me. That was a good one. Welcome to Absolutely Criminal.
There's a petition to include a request to be allowed to relocate with minor children. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right. And why were you seeking to move to South Florida?
And she definitely should not have firearms. I hope she doesn't own a gun. I don't know why. I don't think anything can end well there with that pairing.
I was seeking a place that would be stable and permanent for the kids and me. Danny never planned on staying in Tallahassee. It was just a question of time before he moved to New York to be with his girlfriend or had dreams of being at Harvard. So Tallahassee was just a temporary stopping point.
Mm-hmm.
Is this Mr. Markel's 23-page response to your motion to relocate?
You're asking me, is this
his response to your motion to relocate?
Yes, it looks like it.
All right. That's quite verbose. Would you agree with that?
I imagine it is. At some point, Danny fired or alienated all of his attorneys and started doing his own legal work. So,
my God, she's the kind of woman that can say "fuck you" with a smile. Like, look at all those digs she's getting in at Danny there, while just eating it all up. Eat it up while you can, Wendi.
Fair to say he was adamantly opposed to you taking his kids to South Florida.
Yes, he shared all of that here, which is different than the conversations we had. But
that's what he filed.
What he filed is what the judge sanctioned him for.
All
yes.
Right. And in that filing, I'm specifically referencing to page 82, where Markel states that the sole stated reason the wife seeks to relocate with the party's minor children is so she can be closer to her parents. My understanding is you don't agree that's why you wanted to move.
It wasn't the sole reason why I wanted to move.
Okay. But you do agree it was a reason.
It was absolutely a reason. I wanted to create some stability for my kids, and having family around helps have a more stable environment.
Wow. So now they don't have a father. Their mother is Wendi Adelson. Their grandmother is going to be in prison, probably. Who knows what Harvey's going to do? And then will Wendi be next? Will she be the next domino? Like later in that interview as well, Danny's mother was talking about a future visit she has in October with the grandkids and Wendi. Ugh.
All right. Was your divorce impacting your family financially? So this is prior to the murder and the
It was certainly impacting me financially, but I don't think it was impacting the rest of my family.
Yeah, T, I think she's gotten a lot of mileage out of that, but it doesn't work in the court system, unfortunately.
All right. How many lawyers did you have in your divorce?
I had one, and then Danny accused her of ethical violations and stealing money, and so I had to hire a new attorney. I think he had 3 or 4.
She's such a victim.
No, I was talking about you. So you had 2.
I had 1, and then I had to get another. Yes.
All right. All right. Does that refresh your recollection about what your mother felt was the most important non-negotiable term of your divorce?
It does.
Okay. And what was that?
That was relocation.
Mm-hmm.
And did your mother, I think you said she was very unhappy with him. Did you agree that she despised him?
I can't speak to whether my mom despised him or didn't. She was very, very disappointed with the way he treated me.
Okay. And did you ever call him names?
I don't remember her calling him names.
Would it refresh your recollection to take a look at the emails for that?
I'm happy to.
Okay. If you'll take a look at page 1, about halfway down.
Yeah, she gets briefed on the memos here, recollecting what she did say.
Did your mom ever refer to your husband as an asshole?
Yes.
A bully?
Yes.
A zealot?
A religious zealot? Yes.
A jackass?
Yes.
A religious extremist?
Yes.
What about Jibbers? She calls him Jibbers?
Yeah, Jibbers is not a bad name. It was.
It's more like a hamster name, and they did use it pejoratively, I think.
A silly name that I came up with during a period of time when I felt incredibly terrorized by Danny. And so it was a word that I would use to kind of make him seem less scary.
Huh.
And these filings are pretty venomous. Is that a fair characterization?
Not on my part.
Well, on both your parts, right?
No, ma'am.
Okay. And
Yikes.
he accuses you of various things, lying about your financial affidavit and things like that. Would you agree?
He does make those accusations. They were completely baseless, but yes.
And he was seeking a court order saying she couldn't have contact with the kids unless there was another adult present, correct?
I see that here. I don't think I took it seriously at the time, so it didn't really lodge in my memory.
Did your mom take it seriously?
No.
Was it ever ruled on?
I don't know.
She knows everything, and she did take this seriously. She takes herself more seriously than anyone, I think, in this family.
If it were, it should be here, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Is it here?
No, it's not. It was scheduled to be ruled on in August of 2014, right?
Is it here?
I don't know. I don't know when it was scheduled for. I do know that nobody took it very seriously.
Okay, so your mom wasn't worried about that motion being granted. Okay. Are you closer to one more than the other?
Yes.
Which one are you closer to?
Charlie.
And has that always been the case, or just since this case?
No, it's not since this case. I think when we were kids, I was probably closest to my oldest brother, and then after getting to be an adult myself around my 20s, I was probably closer to my middle brother.
Around the time of 2013 and 2014, were you closer to Charlie at that time?
I would say so.
All right. And
close enough that he would hire a hitman for you. And she's about to go on. If you're enjoying yourself, please hit thumbs up. Check out our new Christmas designs at TiffieLou.com. If you have the time and you want to buy something you don't need, we got a lot of that stuff. Let's continue.
are you aware of any connection at any time between your brother Charlie and any gang members?
No.
Did your brother use drugs?
He did, yeah.
What type of drugs did he use?
What is so flippin' entertaining? I mean, I guess people smile when they're nervous, but this just gives me the icks.
Marijuana.
Okay, what else?
I don't know of anything else.
Just pot.
And do you know where he got the drugs from that he used?
I don't.
Okay. Was he a recreational marijuana user or was he a drug dealer?
I would say he was a recreational marijuana user.
Okay. Was this something he did every day or just occasionally?
I don't know how often. I don't know if it was every day, but I do know the pain of the last few years has led him to do some self-medicating.
It wouldn't surprise me if Charlie was like dealing laughing gas on the side, you know, something like that.
Okay, but I'm really speaking of the time frame. I should have clarified 2013 to 2014.
I don't know if he was using any drugs during that time.
Was there anything special about this girlfriend in terms of her relationship with your brother? Did they seem closer or more serious?
It didn't seem serious.
Were you off-put by Ms. Magbanua for any reason? Did she seem like different from the ordinary trail of women that came through his life?
She seemed perfectly nice.
Did you bond with her in a special way? Did you have a different type of relationship with her than you had with any of his other girlfriends?
No, I mean, if anything, I'd say I'd been closer to other girlfriends.
Did she go to the beach with all his other girlfriends and take a picture while laying in the sand?
Only met her twice.
All right. What about her ex, Sigfredo Garcia? Were you aware of him at all before this case?
No.
So you didn't even know she had an ex?
I knew she had an ex because my brother once mentioned that he was dating a girl and she had an ex that seemed a little scary.
All right.
I mean, I think Donna probably protected her from a lot of knowledge. You know what I mean? I think they told her as little as possible because Wendi just can't handle that, you know?
Said maybe you should stay away from that.
Yeah, and so the ex, did you have specific knowledge about why he was a little scary?
No.
Is your brother Charlie protective of you?
Thank you, Renee.
Yes, yeah.
Did you discuss your marital problems with him back during the time of 2013, 2014?
Thank you, Sparkles.
Is it fair to say that in the time frame leading up to the murder of your ex-husband that your brother did not like your ex?
I think it's fair to say. I mean, I also think it's fair to say he wasn't particularly concerned with it. He was leading his own life and not really focused on mine.
But your mom was really focused on yours.
My mom was
hyper-focused.
And your mom was in the ear of your brother quite a bit, same as she was with you, right?
I don't know about how much she was in his ear or not.
Wow. Just as an aside, I'm posting the link to our live premiere that happens at the bottom of the hour, just about 11 minutes. And but if you're in this live stream, you should be automatically redirected over there for the premiere.
Did your brother ever mention hiring a hitman to kill your ex-husband?
He never mentioned hiring a hitman. He told one bad off-color joke where he said
that mentioned hiring a hitman.
He had bought me a TV when I got divorced and said it was a present and made a very bad joke and bad taste that it was cheaper than hiring a hitman.
And was I'm sorry, I cut you off.
Oh, that's okay.
What else were you going to say?
I think that was it.
All right. Was that a joke that your brother made one time or more than one time?
He has a tendency to repeat himself. So everything he says multiple times.
Do you know how many times he said it?
I have no idea, but definitely twice at least.
Who was present at that dinner?
Just my brother and me.
Okay.
Oh, okay. This is the pukey dinner that they go out to supposedly celebrate. But what were they celebrating?
Okay. And that was kind of your first time out after this murder had occurred, right?
After it happened, I couldn't eat for several weeks, and then I was completely terrified to leave my house. So this was the first time I tried to leave the house and eat food, and that is how it ended up. I threw up.
We need some tiny violins for this girl today.
At the dinner table, in a restaurant.
Yes, it was very embarrassing.
How long after the murder was that incident?
Probably about a month or so.
Was the dinner intended to be a celebration of the fact that your husband was murdered?
Absolutely not.
Did your brother refer to it as a celebration?
I highly doubt that.
She's got that pre-programmed answer for those tough questions. Absolutely not. And she kind of shakes her head yes while she says that. Let me go back a little bit.
Different than what you...
Not that far.
All right. Were you involved in the plot to kill your husband?
Absolutely not.
Did you have knowledge of the plot to kill your husband?
No.
But you suspected that your family was involved?
No, I did not suspect that my family was involved.
Did you mention in your interview with law enforcement that you suspected that your family could be behind this?
I think I speculated about lots of things during the 6 hours I spent with law enforcement without an attorney present trying to help them solve this murder. Yes, I said all kinds.
Look at the passive aggressive smiling she's doing while just getting her digs in and playing the victim. Oh,
Right. And one of the things you said was that your family very much disliked him and that you thought it was possible that someone had done this on your behalf, unbeknownst to you.
I did say I thought someone might have done this on my behalf, yes.
And who did your brother know that had connections that could get something like that done?
I have no idea.
Specifically at the time of the murder, Catherine McVanoa was your brother's girlfriend at that time, correct?
K-Mags.
I think so.
Okay.
Shout out to K-Mags, by the way, sitting in prison today. Wonder what she's doing.
And can you identify her? You mentioned you've been to the beach with her on one occasion and dinner on another occasion. Do you see her in the courtroom?
Yes. I do.
Could you please point her out and describe what she's wearing?
She is sitting over here. She has on a striped blouse and a blazer.
And while we're doing shout out to Sarah Boone as well. She needs to step up her game. I mean, her case has kind of been eclipsed by this Adelson stuff in Florida. She really needs to re-grab the spotlight.
Were you aware that she was on the payroll at the Adelson Institute?
I know that she worked at my dad's office for a while, so it would make sense that she was on the payroll.
And what duties did she perform there?
Were Wendi and June going shopping together for their court outfits?
I have no idea.
Okay, and when you say she worked there, did she physically went there?
I really don't know.
On the way to run your errands, did you go by the crime scene?
No.
Here we go.
On the way to run your errands, did you encounter a roadblock on Trescott?
I did.
All right, so you did turn off of Centerville onto Trescott.
I did.
All right, and when you encountered a roadblock, what did you assume the problem was there?
I figured it was just an electrical storm or something. There was some tape, and it looked like the road was blocked off. And so I just turned around and went back and went up Benton.
And had there been an electrical storm that morning?
I didn't remember an electrical storm, but in the summertime, there's always trees falling and rainstorms, so pretty normal.
Yeah, and she said in the most recent trial as well, it was a pleasant morning, weather-wise. So why would she think there's an electrical storm? On the other hand, I'm trying to think if I drove by my street and it was blocked off at the end, I don't know that I would necessarily assume that something was wrong at my house. But unless my brother hired a hitman for me.
Normal.
Right, and you weren't concerned based on that experience that there could be something going on at previously your marital home?
Absolutely not.
Do you know how the killers knew that Dan Markel was planning to leave town the next day?
I have no idea.
I think we all know the answer to that question, don't we?
You didn't relay that information to anyone?
Absolutely not.
Did you have WhatsApp on your phone at the time?
There was that absolutely not again. She did the same kind of movements.
I really don't know. I have it now. I don't know if I had it 8 years ago.
Did you
Yeah, she's got bulging eyes.
communicate with anyone on WhatsApp or similar technology to relay any information about the murder of your husband?
Absolutely not.
I was also watching a body language expert last night, former cop, and he said, if you can see the whites of the eyes underneath the iris, it means their eyes are open wide and they're about to tell you a lie. He said like 100% of the time. Just saying.
Do you know if your brother Charlie had WhatsApp at the time?
I have no idea.
Did you communicate with him through WhatsApp?
If I had WhatsApp on my phone, then maybe I did. I know I had friends who lived around the world. At that time, WhatsApp was more of a technology used to talk to people internationally. So I know the friend I was talking to was in England. If I had WhatsApp, I would have used it to call him.
Did you know?
Who here has thrown up in public like that? I mean, it would be embarrassing, but it would give you a fantastic story to tell. And you're not the only one. I mean, remember back when George Bush threw up like on the Japanese president? Yeah. So anyway, let us know. You have a good story.
You know that WhatsApp, the communications are encrypted. They cannot be retrieved by law enforcement. Were you aware of that?
I think they can be retrieved by law enforcement, but it's one of the end-to-end encryption services.
Did you or your children benefit financially from your husband's death?
Absolutely not.
Was there a, did your
There it is again. Let's see that one more
Aware of
time.
that? I think they can be retrieved by law enforcement, but it's one of the end-to-end encryption services.
Did you or your children benefit financially from your husband's death?
Absolutely not.
Was there a, did your husband have a life insurance policy?
Who nods yes while they're saying an adamant no?
He did have a life insurance policy.
And what was the value of that policy?
I don't know what the value of it was at the time. I do know that his sister's the custodian of that life insurance policy, and I pay taxes on that money every year, but we don't.
He did, Chris. Says, I threw up of hearing of my boyfriend's new victim. I mean, screw. Oh, we're sorry.
We don't receive any of it.
What was the value of it at the time of your husband's death?
It was $1 million.
Not $2 million?
$1 million for each child.
$2 million. What about
That's
a 401k? Did your ex-husband have a 401k when he died?
I believe he did.
All right.
Yep.
And are you the custodian of that money for the benefit of the boys?
I am. That's how I pay the taxes.
She's not personally benefiting. She's just paying taxes, guys. She's a patriot.
All right. Did he have a pension?
I don't know.
Social Security benefits?
I don't know if he had Social Security benefits. As survivors, my children receive Social Security benefits.
$4,800 a month, right?
That's right.
Deferred compensation fund?
I don't remember.
$217,000. Does that sound familiar?
I don't remember.
What about the IRA? Did you have an IRA?
I really don't know.
$100,000?
It's very possible.
Did you pay the taxes with all that money? And why did you forget about all that shit?
What about a checking account?
I don't know if I assume he had a checking account.
$15,000 in there, right?
Wouldn't go to us, but sure. I imagine he had a checking account.
It wouldn't go to you and the boys? Where did it go?
Funeral expenses?
Okay.
Question mark?
How old are your boys now?
They're 11 and 12.
How old were they when their dad was killed?
It was 10 days before my older son's birthday, so he was almost 5. And my younger son was 3.5.
This is the sad part that gets me.
Did you change their legal names about a month or so after the murder?
No, not a month or so after the murder, no.
Okay. When was it done? Even sooner than that?
No, absolutely not.
Absolutely not.
When I tried to put my children in school and their faces had been unblurred on CNN and all across social media.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but if you'll answer my question is, when were the boys' names changed?
The boys' names were changed after I wrote a letter to Danny's family explaining why I was changing their names.
Extraneous information.
About a year after.
Okay, and that was when they were legally changed, July 6, 2015?
I don't remember
That was like pulling teeth.
the date, but if you have it, that sounds correct.
Okay, so they were legally changed on that date, but just a month or so after the murder, when you were enrolling them in school, is when
bravado.
they effectively had their names changed.
That is not true.
And what did you change their names from and to?
I changed their last name from their father's last name to mine.
Yep, and that is all we need to know, Wendi.